Welcome to Andy Explores the World. Today we dive into Barbados with rarely heard facts that most guides skip. Watch till the very end. These will genuinely surprise you and change how you see the island. Please like and leave a comment to kick the algorithm so more people find this and so I can make many more deep dive videos. I would be truly grateful. And of course, subscribe so you never miss the next journey. Fact 1. Small, stable, and democratic. Barbados punches above its weight, a compact island state that has built a remarkably steady parliamentary democracy rooted in the Westminster tradition. Since independence in 1966, peaceful transfers of power, an independent judiciary, and a disciplined civil service have delivered uncommon continuity across the Caribbean. The nation became a republic in late 2021, replacing the British monarch with a Barbadian head of state while preserving robust checks and balances. Low macroeconomic volatility and strong rule of law credentials underpin tourism and professional services. Its currency is long pegged at roughly 2 Barbados dollars to 1 United States dollar, about BBD 2 per USD 1, signaling policy prudence. For residents and investors, that predictability is the island's quiet superpower. Fact 2. Painted heritage, Barbados's chattel houses. Those picture postcard, candy-colored homes are not just cute. They are engineering born of history. Barbados's classic chattel houses are timber dwellings set on coral stone blocks so they can be lifted and moved, a legacy of plantation times when tenants might have to relocate at short notice. Their steep roofs shed tropical downpours, jalousie windows and fretwork invite the trade winds, hurricane shutters mean business. The bold palette, turquoise, coral lemon, and sea green, helps reflect heat and signals pride of place. Many started as one-room boxes and grew in stages, section by section, as families prospered. Today, conservation rules in Bridgetown and Speightstown protect the look, so these bright facades remain an everyday gallery of Barbadian design. Fact 3. Whale highways around Barbados. Each winter and early spring, humpback whales pass Barbados as they travel between North Atlantic feeding grounds and Caribbean calving waters. The island sits beside deep Atlantic routes, so watchful eyes along the north and east headlands, or from boats on the calmer leeward coast, often glimpse tail slaps, breaches, and vaporous blows on the horizon. Pods may be flanked by spirited dolphins and short-finned pilot whales. Local captains follow marine wildlife codes, slow approach, engines in neutral, no chasing, and a respectful buffer. Dawn or late afternoon light helps spot distant spouts. For creators, a long lens from the cliffs near Animal Flower Cave can frame dramatic silhouettes against cobalt water. Fact 4. The broken trident, more than a logo. Centered on Barbados's flag is a black trident head, whose shaft is deliberately broken, marking the island's break with colonial rule at independence in late November 1966. The vertical bands, ultramarine, gold, ultramarine, evoke sea, sand, and sea again, a neat compass for a maritime nation. The three prongs are often read as democracy's trio, government of the people, by the people, for the people, while still nodding to Neptune's sea power. You will see the trident across passports, coins, police insignia, and sports crests, but not on the national coat of arms. That shows a bearded fig tree, crossed sugar canes in St. Andrew's saltire, a pelican and a dolphin, and the motto, pride and industry. In short, the trident is Barbados's modern signature: sovereign, ocean-minded, unmistakable. Fact 5. An island betting big on renewables. Barbados treats clean energy as national security. Since the 1970s, the island has mainstreamed solar water heating, so rooftops gleam with flat-plate collectors that slash electricity use for hot water. Tax incentives and duty relief helped households and hotels adopt systems, and photovoltaic panels now spread across schools, clinics, and cane fieldages, with battery storage smoothing cloudy afternoons. The blustery Atlantic side invites wind projects, while small microgrids and seawater cooling chip away at diesel demand. Government targets 100% renewable electricity by the year 2030 and is rolling out electric buses and scooters to green transport. Beyond climate virtue, the payoff is concrete: fewer fuel imports, steadier prices, and faster post-hurricane recovery. On a compact grid, every watt matters, and Barbados turns sun and trade winds into resilience. Fact 6. Afro-Caribbean roots, modern identity. Barbados is, above all, an Afro-Caribbean society formed by the Atlantic sugar economy. From the 17th century onward, enslaved Africans remade the island, and today the large majority of Bajans trace ancestry to West and Central Africa. That heritage sings in the Bajan dialect's cadence, in tukban drumming and crop-over revelry, in pepper sauce heat, cuckoo and flying fish on the plate, and in community pillars from church choirs to cricket clubs. European and Asian minorities and a far-flung diaspora add texture, but the core cultural grammar is African Caribbean. Respect for elders, call and response humor, storytelling, and a stubborn ethic of industry. Emancipation in 1834 and independence in 1966 anchor memory, with heroes from Bussa to Errol Barrow shaping a confident national voice. Fact 7. The national bird untangled. A quick but important correction served straight. Barbados's official national bird is the brown pelican, a coastal sentinel that even appears as a supporter on the coat of arms. Locals often say Barbados blackbird, yet that name usually means the Carib grackle, a common Lesser Antillean species rather than an island-exclusive treasure. The only bird found nowhere else on Earth is the Barbados bullfinch, a clever, garden-tough seed-eater that thrives beside people. So, pelican is the emblem, grackle is the everyday black bird, and bullfinch is the true endemic. 3 birds, 1 small island, easy to mix up, but now you know the clean lineup. Fact 8. Washington's only overseas home. In the autumn of 1751, a young George Washington sailed with his ailing brother Lawrence to Barbados, the only foreign country he would ever set foot in. For roughly 7 weeks, he lodged in a 2-story plantation house in the Garrison district, today preserved as George Washington House. The Caribbean stay toughened him. He survived smallpox here, left scarred but immune, a fact that later safeguarded an army through waves of disease. He toured coastal batteries, studied fortifications, and saw how a sugar colony's wealth and labor worked in practice. The island widened his world, sharpening a surveyor's eye into a strategist's. Strolling Bridgetown's quays and counting cannon, he learned how trade winds, rum, and royal policy braided power across the Atlantic. For Washington, Barbados was a brief address and a lasting classroom. Fact 9. Safe by Caribbean standards. Barbados enjoys a reputation for calm streets and welcoming neighborhoods, making it one of the region's easier places to relax, work, and film without drama. Violent crime is comparatively low, and most incidents that touch visitors are simple, opportunistic thefts near busy nightlife zones such as St. Lawrence Gap or crowded beaches. Strong social cohesion, church networks, cricket clubs, and close-knit families pairs with visible community policing, licensing of taxis, and widespread, closed-circuit cameras in commercial areas. Sensible habits still apply. Keep valuables discreet, use hotel safes, and skip unlit lanes after dark. For residents, steady institutions and engaged local councils add another buffer. In short, Barbados is not carefree, but it is confidently careful. Fact 10. Christian majority, African echoes. Barbados is a Christian majority society where faith shapes weekly rhythms and civic life. Roughly 9 in 10 Bajans identify with Christian denominations, with Anglican roots from colonial days alongside energetic Pentecostal, Methodist, Catholic, and Seventh-day Adventist congregations. The soundscape blends hinodi with drums and call and response, reflecting West and Central African heritage carried through centuries. Folk healing, prayer circles, and watch night services echo older cosmologies, even as formal churches remain the community's anchor for weddings, wakes, and charity. Colonial authorities once criminalized African-derived practices under Obeah statutes. The legacy is debated, but cultural memory survives in language, music, and festival spirituality. In Barbados, the cross and the drum sing in harmony. Fact 11. The fish cutter, Barbados in a bun. A fish cutter is Barbados distilled into handheld form. A crisp, airy, salt bread roll split open and stuffed with seasoned flying fish, fried golden or grilled for as smoky a bite. Lime juice, thyme, and a pinch of Bajan seasoning wake the fillet. Shredded lettuce, tomato, and cucumber add beach-fresh crunch. A lick of tangy tartarand, the island's mustard-forward pepper sauce, bring the heat. Bajans use cutter for almost any sandwich, ham cutter, cheese cutter, but the flying fish version is the people's champion, sold from rum shop counters, roadside stalls, and the smoky grills of Oystons on a Friday night. Pair it with Moby or a cold, local lager, and you have the national quick meal, affordable, fast, and fiercely comforting. Technique matters too. Never squash the roll. Let the steam escape and the crust stay proud. Fact 12. The limestone sponge beneath Barbados. Barbados is essentially a coral limestone dome, riddled with caves and conduits that behave like a giant natural waterworks. Rain sinks quickly through the porous coralline cap, percolates across older limestone layers, and pools in fresh aquifers buffered from surface contamination. Harrison's Cave is the showpiece of this hidden plumbing. Dripstone galleries, clear streams, and subterranean pools that hint at slow, constant filtration. Wellfields tap the aquifers at modest depth, with gravity doing much of the lifting. In some districts, old standpipes still witness a culture of shared supply. Because the island is small and ringed by salt water, water managers protect recharge zones, curb agrochemicals, and track wells to prevent seawater intrusion. The payoff is unusually clean. Mineral-bright tap water for a tropical island, cool, dependable, and resilient even through the long dry spells. Fact 13. Why Barbados means the bearded ones. Early Iberian sailors christened the island after the beards they saw fringing its shores. Charts from the 16th century record both the Spanish form Los Barbados and the Portuguese Os Barbados, each translating to the bearded ones. The most accepted explanation points to the bearded fig trees, Ficus citrifolia, whose long, pendulous aerial roots drape like whiskers over coral limestone gullies. Sailors rounding the surf-lashed east coast would have read that shaggy silhouette at a glance. A few folk etymologies suggest sea spray beards or even stalactites, but these are side notes to the fig tree story. Long before Europeans, indigenous peoples likely knew the island as Ichiruga name, sometimes glossed as red land with white teeth, a poetic nod to iron-tinted soils and surf-bright reefs. Today, the bearded fig endures on the coat of arms, anchoring name, nature, and national memory. Fact 14. Bridgetown, the cruise artery of the Southern Caribbean. Bridgetown's deep-water harbour is one of the Caribbean's prime cruise gateways, a rare port that functions both as a bustling transit call and a convenient home port. Modern berths and a purpose-built terminal place, passengers within strolling distance of UNESCO-listed Bridgetown and the Garrison, so shore time quickly turns into history, shopping, and rum shop lunches. The leeward coast's sheltered waters make for reliable tendering and smooth sailaways, while efficient customs and immigration keep turnarounds tight. Lines use Barbados for winter itineraries and transatlantic repositionings, provisioning ships with local produce, bakery staples, and, of course, world-class rum. From the quay, tours radiate to Harrison's Cave, Bathsheba's Surf, St. Nicholas Abbey and its heritage railway, and catamarans that snorkel with turtles. The port also bunkers fuel, loads fresh water, and manages waste, a full-service stop for ocean-going giants. Crucially, the cruise dollar spreads to taxi co-ops, craft markets, and small tour operators, making the harbour a living engine for the island economy. Fact 15. South of the Hurricane Highway. Barbados sits on the southeastern lip of the Caribbean, just below the main transatlantic hurricane highway that curves northwest from West Africa. That latitude and the steady trade winds nudge many Cape Verde-borne systems to pass well north, so the island is often brushed by outer rain bands rather than mauled by an eye wall. Often, however, is not always. Tropical storm Tomas in late October 2010 and Hurricane Elsa in early July 2021 both delivered roof-ripping gusts and power cuts. Because near misses are common, Bajans build in concrete, fit stout shutters, prune coastal trees, and take watches from June through November seriously. The upside is real. Fewer direct strikes, faster reopenings after squalls, and a tourism economy that usually rebounds between swells. Fact 16. Wrecks that make a diver's playground. Barbados ringed its turquoise shallows with story. Wartime freighters, retired tugs, and purpose-sunk vessels now bloom with corals and sea fans, turning the island into a living underwater museum. On the calm leeward side, Carlisle Bay holds a cluster of easy, shallow wrecks where even confident snorkelers can hover above boilers, winches, and thresident green turtles. Farther north, the famed Stavronakita rests in blue water beyond recreational snorkel range, a cathedral of steel draped in sponges and black coral drawing advanced divers when currents are kind. Mooring buoys spare the reef from anchor scars. Visibility often stretches astonishingly far, and operators hew to no-touch codes that keep fish bold and habitats healthy. For filmmakers, shafts of late afternoon light can turn each hull into a floating stage. Fact 17. Why Barbadian tap water tastes so clean. Barbados sits atop a coral limestone sponge, so rainfall sinks through karst like a natural filter, shedding sediment and most microbes long before it reaches the island's aquifers. The Water Authority guards these recharge zones, limits agrochemicals and pumps from protected wellfields, then polishes the supply with careful chlorination and routine lab checks. The result is reliably clear, mineral-bright tap water whose gentle hardness reflects dissolved calcium from the rock. Elevated reservoirs and pressure-managed pipes keep the network steady through dry spells, while a modern desalination plant can be blended in as backup during drought. Hotels often chill and serve the tap without fuss, and many households drink straight from the kitchen. Sensible caveat only, rural cisterns or private wells merit a quick local thumbs up before you fill your bottle. Fact 18. When rum costs less than milk. On Barbados, the old joke that rum is cheaper than milk comes surprisingly close to truth because of how each product reaches the shelf. Rum is locally distilled from sugarcane byproducts, sold in high volumes, and taxed within a framework that treats it as a homegrown staple. Milk, by contrast, depends heavily on imported feed, fuel, packaging, and sometimes the dairy itself. Scale and shipping push dairy upward, while abundant distilleries keep entry-level spirits keenly priced. In rum shops, you can buy a modest measure for little more than pocket change, whereas a family's weekly milk bill adds up fast. The long-standing currency peg, about $2 Barbados for $1 United States dollar, makes the comparison easy for visitors. The headline is not an invitation to overindulge. It is a window into island economics, where cane still outcompetes cows. Fact 19. Keep left. The British road legacy. On Barbadian roads, the rule is simple. Keep left, steer from the right-hand seat, and move with a British rhythm. The island inherited the full left-hand toolkit, clockwise roundabouts where you give way to traffic already circulating, pedestrian crossings with drivers stopping from the right, and mirror habits tuned to the curb rather than the center line. Most cars are right-hand drive imports from Britain and Japan, so visitors from the Americas may feel flipped. Rental agencies often add keep left decals. Speeds are metric, roads are narrow and cambered, and rural lanes hide speed humps and stray livestock. Use headlights in rain, signal early at mini roundabouts, and expect brief horn taps that mean thanks, not anger. Fact 20. Two-color bus stops, 3 kinds of rides. Barbados keeps public transport delightfully legible. Roadside poles painted blue or yellow mark official stops, and simple plaques read to city or from city, so you instantly know your direction relative to Bridgetown. 3 fleets share the roads: large government buses, brisk yellow minibuses, and nimble white route taxis called ZR vans, covering the island like capillaries. You flag to board, press the bell to alight, and exact change is the norm on the big buses. Main corridors run often, while late evenings and rural spurs thin out, so locals mix routes or hop a ZR for speed. The poles seem minimalist, but that is the point. Low-tech, high-signal wayfinding that works in sun, spray, or carnival traffic, getting you from beach to market with island efficiency. Fact 21. Cricket, the island's pulse. Cricket is not just a pastime in Barbados, it is the island's metronome. From parish greens to the storied Kensington Oval, matches stitch weekends together. and schoolboys learn cover drives before algebra. Barbadian greats, Sir Garfield Sobers, Malcolm Marshall, Joel Garner, Desmond Haynes turned a small island into a global nursery of fast bowling and silky stroke play. In late April 2007, the Oval hosted the Cricket World Cup final, a sun-splashed showcase that confirmed Bridgetown as a capital of the game. Today, the calendar blends 5-day tests, 1-day internationals, and the quickfire 2020 format. Rum shop radios carry ball-by-ball drama, while tuck bands and calypso set the tempo. In Barbados, leather on willow is the national heartbeat. Fact 22, UNESCO, status, historic Bridgetown and its garrison. UNESCO inscribed historic Bridgetown and its garrison in the year 2011, honoring a rare Caribbean cityscape that grew organically rather than on a rigid colonial grid. The Careen Age, a tidal inner harbour crossed by the namesake swing bridge, once hosted brigs and sugar schooners. Nearby stand the neo-Gothic Parliament buildings, among the oldest legislatures in the hemisphere. The district's layered faiths include the Nidhi Israel Synagogue and Mikveh, one of the region's oldest Jewish sites. Up the road, the Garrison Complex, St. Anne's Fort, the main guardhouse, the Savannah Parade Ground, and regimental barracks speaks to Barbados's role as a British anchor in the southeastern Caribbean from the 17th through the 19th century. Cobblestones, coral stone walls, and chattel house streets knit it together, making Bridgetown a living archive rather than a museum behind ropes. Fact 23, one of the world's oldest parliaments. Barbados traces its legislature to the House of Assembly first convened in 1639, making it among the oldest continuously functioning parliaments in the hemisphere and the wider Commonwealth. The modern system is bicameral, an elected House of Assembly balanced by an appointed Senate, modelled on Westminster but scaled for a compacti land state. Debates unfold inside the neo-Gothic coral stone Parliament buildings on National Heroes Square in Bridgetown, where the gilded mace on the table symbolises the people's authority. Committee rooms probe budgets and state enterprises. Question time keeps ministers accountable. The Hansard preserves every word. After the Republic transition in 2021, the institution carried on seamlessly with a Barbadian president as head of state. Here, stability is not luck, it is a centuries-old habit. Fact 24. Rihanna, from Bridgetown to global icon. Born in St. Michael and raised in Bridgetown on what is now Rihanna Drive, Robin Rihanna Fenty turned a small island cadence into a global sound. Her hits braided dancehall, soca, and rhythm and blues, carrying Bajan phrasing onto the world's main stages and into fashion with her Fenty ventures. At home, she has been tapped for public service, first as a cultural figurehead, and later as ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary, charged with promoting education, tourism, and investment. In late November 2021, she was named a national hero during the Republic ceremony, a rare honor that placed pop alongside statecraft. Through the Clara Lionel Foundation, she channels relief and scholarships across the Caribbean. When she returns for Cropover's Kadooment Day, the island's masquerade explodes online, proof that one artist can amplify a nation's voice. Fact 25. Sugar made it rich at a cost. Barbados became one of the Atlantic world's richest colonies on the back of sugar. In the mid-17th century, Dutch know-how and credit helped the island pivot from tobacco to cane, and windmill towers soon pricked every ridge. Boiling houses turned cane into crystals and molasses, and local stills refined the leftovers into rum, exporting sweetness and spirits for tools, textiles, and status goods. Fortunes piled up in Bridgetown counting houses and planter townhomes, yet each pound of profit was wrung from the coerced labor of enslaved Africans. The plantation machine stitched Barbados into the triangular trade, with ships cycling between British ports, West Africa, and Caribbean harbors. That wealth financed parish churches, coral stone bridges, and gracious streets whose forms remain. Emancipation ended chattel slavery, but left hard social and landholding imbalances. Today, great houses and museums tell both splendor and suffering, while modern rum makers reclaim craft without cruelty. Thank you for exploring Barbados with me on Andy Explores the World. If you learned something new, please like the video, drop a comment with corrections or local tips, and subscribe so you never miss the next journey. Your watch time and feedback truly kick the algorithm into gear, helping this reach more curious travelers and letting me produce even more deep dives. Share this with a friend who dreams of the Caribbean or is planning a move. Your single share makes a real difference. See you in the next episode, and until then, keep exploring with an open map and an open mind.